Okay, everyone. So I'm going to talk about use of the grease pencil, just to go over a few things with you. But before I get into that, let me even talk about some of the problems that you guys are going to come up against when you're working with your reference, creating your reference. Okay. Um, if you have a camera where you can specifically set your frame rate of capture to 24 frames a second, that's going to give you the best, basically, performance. That's what mine are set to. That's why when I hit play, they play at speed. If you're shooting at 30 frames a second, which your camera might, it'll be slightly slower. I wouldn't worry too much about that. If, though, you are using, say, something like Photo Booth, okay? Um, and here I am. I'll just say hello. Um, if you're using Photo Booth, which is great, because you can see me here, even using it in class a while back. But what I like about Photo Booth is you can see yourself, and you guys trying to figure out how you're viewing, or you view toward the camera. You can see it's very easy to think about your staging if you can actually see what you look like instead of trying to figure it out in your head. So it's kind of nice to use Photo Booth. Also, you got to watch for your flipping in here. But the problem with Photo Booth is it's not set up to allow you um, to decide what frame rate you're basically working at. I think by default, and here I have that movie right here. If I open it up in QuickTime, and you can do this in 10 also, if you open up the inspector, which I believe is like the I key in QuickTime, you can find the frame rate on it. And here it tells me it's 12.01. Okay, so the problem with this is when you put it into Maya and work with it in Maya and play blast it out, it's going to speed it up double. So you're going to basically, your frame rate playing in Maya is going to be much faster. Okay. So even if I do that, if I go in Maya, right, and I take that video that's on that top there, and I go to an image plane, basically I'm in an orthographic view, right, I go to image plane, come down, import movie, go to my desktop where I threw that guy, and there he is, open it up, uh, and you'll see that when I hit play, it's moving pretty fast, okay? Much faster than it would have been. Is that a problem? It depends. If you use it this way, it's fine. You can still scrub through it, analyze it, get a lot of information for it, and use it to block out. Now, while you're blocking it out, if you follow the timing, your scene is going to be twice as fast probably as it should be. So I would use the timing the way it is in order to use your notes and build your poses on where you put your notes. And then once you have it blocked out, and then you can start moving your timing around, okay, to slow it down. Now, if you want to turn around and try and slow this video down, if you have if you know editing software, you can do that. Let me show you quickly. Actually, I just did this quick little test to see if it would work, and it seems to have worked. But if you would just even open up that same video inside of Photoshop, okay, because Photoshop, you can use videos in it. You don't have to do anything to it. Just open it up and then go to File and Export it. So you want to go to File, Export, and you'll find Render Video. Okay. This will at least give you the option to change the frame rate. Okay. And if you choose 24 and render it out, and I've already kind of done that, so let me show you that. As far as the others, if you're worried about the other settings, export render video. I would just leave it at document size. High quality is fine. We're going to actually, as you'll see, we're going to actually render this out again to make sure it works in Maya. But just change your frame rate and you should be good. Okay. The problem with that is if I turn around now and try and bring that into Maya as an image plane, and I'll go to view again, image plane, and I will choose import movie. Again, I dropped it all on my desktop to be easy, and I will choose, where is it? Oops. There it is. It's called FPS24, and it's an MP4. Photoshop will basically render out an MP4 of you, and guess what? See, it's grayed out. That means Maya's not very happy about that formatting. So it's not going to want to use your Photoshop video. What you can do from there is, once again, just render it out, but just use QuickTime 10. So open it up with your QuickTime 10 player, right? And from there, just go to File and say Export, and export it as a 480p. Maya likes 480p's. Okay, it won't have a problem viewing that, loading that, and then also compress it. If your video is large too, it'll compress your video if it's too large, which is a nice reason to use it too. Okay, so use the 480p and QuickTime 10 on whatever videos you're having a problem with bringing into Maya, and you shouldn't have any problems. And that's what we have right here. You can see there's the frames per second 24 at 480p, and it's very happy to use that. So I'll open it up. It'll bring that in on an image plane, and when you see me play it now, you'll see that it's playing pretty much at speed, which is much better. Okay. So that's what I would suggest you guys do. Once you have it on an image plane, then you can just turn around and start creating your notes. Also, if you find too, like some of these videos, like even the demo one I'm looking at right now, which I believe is 42, yes. If I open that up and check the frame rate, first off, you can see the size of it, which I recorded, is rather large. So the larger your video is in Maya, the more it's going to maybe make Maya chug. So that's another reason. But if I check the specs on this, I can turn around and say, this is shot on 23.98, so I'm not going to have any problems. But again, if it's a larger video, what I'll normally do is I'll bring this into QuickTime 10, export this out as a 480p, and that will make it a much smaller video that won't give me problems inside of Maya. Okay, I would suggest just scale it up so you can kind of see it. I'll even jump over here. So this is the demo one, okay, and you can see me kind of where I've been scrubbing through and analyzing it using the grease pencil. Okay. Now let me just kind of show you quickly how you kind of launch and use the grease pencil. One thing I'll tell you about the grease pencil is if you actually move your camera after you've started drawing, well, guess what? Your drawings will stay where they are, because it's kind of like drawing on the lens of the camera that you're looking through, or the panel camera. Okay. So instead of having to try and resize and scale this thing and move this thing into place, make sure you either key or lock or I use the bookmark tab, which is the third one over in the panel window here. Okay, if I right click on it, you'll see there's something called analysis, and you'll see that my camera will pop back to where I was working with it. Okay, boom. All right, so very easy. So if you move your camera while you're drawing, it's a bit of a pain to try and get it back in place. In order to create a bookmark, you just actually, all you have to do is click on it once. If you click on it once, boom, you won't see anything happen, but then if you right click to see, you'll see there's a new camera up here. It's called camera view 1. The analysis one was there, so I've made a second one. Okay, if you want, I'll just do this and say, if I click it again and I right click, there's my third one, camera view 2. So I can go to camera view 1 and I can jump back to 2, okay, and jump back to the analysis one. If you want to edit too, you can just right click and go to edit 2D bookmarks. You can delete bookmarks out of here or rename them. So if I don't want either of these, or if I want to, say camera view 1, I can just put it DOS, DOS. And then this one I can delete if I wanted. So you can either hit delete or hit delete there. Okay. And then once you close it, you'll see once you right click, you've got basically your bookmarks there. Okay, guys, so I would suggest you bookmark this before you start working on it. Otherwise, when you move it, you might kind of offset it a little bit, okay, and struggle to get it back on. And I'd move it up close so you can kind of see it and play blast it from here too. You launch the grease pencil from the menu item here. Okay, so just clicking on the grease pencil, it'll open up this nice little window. I guess I could cover up my messy screen. There we go. And here you're going to see the keys down here. These are grease pencil keys, and they work just like normal keys. You can even change the timing of them. You need keys, actually grease pencil keys, in order to draw on. Okay. And the one thing too about this is each panel, window, or camera has its own grease pencil in it. So if I'm drawing in here, I'm not going to see it in this view, and I'm not going to see it in this view. Okay, it's specific to the panel. That's why it's kind of drawn on the lens of it. So if I jump into here, whatever I draw here will be seen here. Okay, there's no grease pencil ticks here because I haven't started drawing yet. In order to start drawing, you just hit your plus. If I want to turn around and analyze this pose, I will hit my plus tab here. That'll give me a key, and now I can start drawing. By default, it'll just give you whatever it's set to. One of these tools, notice that they're active now. Before they were, if I delete this key, they're grayed out. Unless you have an actual key to draw on, they will be grayed out. You won't be able to select them, so you hit plus to create a key. Now I can choose which tool I want to use, and it's just a pencil marker, and you can play around them to see what they do. The B key, if you hold down the B key and click and drag, it's just like any brush tool where you can scale the size of your point up. Okay, to suit you, you can change your color in the color wheel here. Okay. There's your eraser. Onion skinning will basically show you that ghosting that goes on when you kind of use programs like this. Okay, so just play around and get used to what you like. As soon as you start drawing, you'll kind of know whether you want to try something else or resize it a little bit so you could see it better. Okay. Like I'll just hit the bookmark bar here just for the heck of it. As far as anything else you really need to know with the grease pencil, nah, nothing really. I don't believe it's not very hard. Like I said, erasing is a matter of hitting the eraser, and you can erase parts of it. Okay, and again, that scales the same way with the B key. If you want to delete it, if you don't like the pose, or actually even if you decided, well, deleting, you can delete up here with the minus, or you can actually delete it like I did before. It acts just like a key on your timeline, so you can even delete it from there by right-clicking and deleting it, or you can hold down Shift and say, you know what, that pose is supposed to be over here. If you were a couple of frames off on where you were drawing it, you can move the timing of your grease pencil. Okay. The grease pencil also is a good tool, not just for analyzing like I'm asking you guys to do, but you can use this to animate in Maya. You can rework your poses in Maya with this too, and then go and turn around and then push the poses after you've kind of like maybe scrubbed over them a little bit more and said, yeah, let me really push that pose so the aligns a little bit more because maybe you were a little too stiff and you want something more like this. If this was an actual rig, I could be doing that and just drawing over quickly in my shot camera and then going back and then taking that pose and pushing it into a stronger line of action or something like that. Okay. So again, write notes, whatever you want. I want you guys kind of just getting loose and exploring and figuring out the line of action, the gesture, the contrapposto and weight shift, all that. Okay. Watch the lecture on reference analysis to go over a little bit more specifics of what I want you guys to do. Once you're done with this, you're going to play blast this out, and then you can use this version, your reference version, inside of Maya to work with your rig. That's what I suggest you do. And then you're obviously going to turn this in for a, I'll just close up my timeline a little bit here. When you play blast, make sure that obviously you can see your grease pencil, and one thing you might find too, so I'm just going to play blast this real quick. Boom. Depending on how you cropped it or what your settings are, you might want to turn around and just actually, this seems to grab everything, but if you have a problem with cropping stuff on your play blast because it gets cut off by your play blast, well then just make sure you check your play blast settings and choose from the window instead. And then save that out. So if I go back to my play blast settings, let's see what mine are set for. They're set from the render settings. If you want to take it from the whole window that you're showing, just choose for window for your render settings, okay? And then you can play blast from there. Oops, I don't think that saved it. Let's try that again. Right click, play blast, render settings. Yeah, let's do it from the window and then hit play blast. So now it's going to grab the whole window. So if your window is pulling from the render settings and it crops off your notes or your image, just make sure you choose a different setting and you choose the window size that you're working from. Okay. Only for this, for your other scene, you want to use those render settings. Okay. which you guys should already have set up. Alright, so that's pretty much the grease pencil, guys. It's pretty simple. Play around it, have fun, and I will see you next time.